Hello, my name is Tatiana Litvin. I will speak about Augustine and his element of philosophy. I'd say we know many ideas of history of Christianity, but I teach philosophy. I'm a researcher in history of philosophy and theology. And today I explain some ideas by Augustine concerning time, concerning memory, some ideas that I think can be useful for your knowledge in the historical reconstruction of religious ideas. You can ask me after this lecture everything what you want concerning this topic, and I can recommend you my paper for the cases if my English is so boring for you and you speak English better than me. Okay, memory and time consciousness. Augustine was a really interesting author, but why we need now more about Augustine? Augustine of Hippo, famous church father, was an author of late antical history, and we know that his work was about every question in the philosophical doctrines of the times and of religious topics. We can imagine this time, this era, so to say, ancient world. We can imagine as a world with many different doctrines and traditions. Yes, I can say philosophical pool of polemics, because these centuries in which Augustine got his ideas was before originary spread of Christianity, and these centuries was very intensive. For example, we can speak about Hellenism as some kind of last period of philosophy. In the same time, Christianity was the young religion and was in ostensible polemics with Judaism. Conceptions of souls were usually pagans. We can read by Augustine big critic of these conceptions. In the same time, theory of knowledge of Augustine is influence of Platonism and how we can say Neoplatonism. 20th century commentators of Augustine preferably come to the conclusion that understanding of his theology is not simply related to thinking about faith, such as, so to say, really and completely completely list or instruction of the ideas and ethics. It is ideas about becoming, about some dynamical, about dynamics of thinking and dynamics of influence between Pagan's theory of knowledge, Pagan's philosophies, and young Christian world outlook, yes, young Christian ethics, young Christian morality. And in this background, most aspects of his epistemology, like the doctrine of memory too, dedicated to this interpretation of Plato soul doctrines, and how can this interpretation be useful for Christianity. In this context, we can speak about some kind of Christianization of Platonism, yes, of Plato philosophy. This Christianization was quite usual. Not only Augustine can be key author for it, and in the same time, individual experience of Augustine was, so to say, useful for his identity as religious author. But we do not need to think some kind of dogmatics in his ideas, because it was very, very contradictory, very rich era of polemics, and Christianity were created by such authors like Augustine. Yes, he didn't got some historically evident in this context. And what is important for us to understand Augustine as author? Augustine, maybe it is not so useful, but Augustine was really more intentioned to Plato's and Aristotle's. Yes, maybe he dislikes Aristotle or so. And we know that Confessions, books on Confessions, famous work, yes, by Augustine. He in this book we can see very, very deeply written individual experience, and maybe many hypotheses of his research was influenced in this experience. Yes, it isn't an unusual for this time. By we can consider it. Yes, we can consider it because Augustine created a really interesting kind of self-reflection. Yes, self-reflection in this combination of Plato contemplative experience and Christian experience of life analysis. Yes, and okay, the question of about memory can explain in follows correlation. Firstly, we can say it is some time of collection of ideas, of expressions, of experience. St. Augustine called memorienterion, a basis of thinking. It was very deep for his knowledge, because Augustine interweaves the question of memory in the problem of past and duration. And inner memory, memoria interior, collect different elements, a basis of thinking, the foundation for thinking in general. Augustine was, so to say, quite interesting author about intuition. Yes, we can say that our intuition collect our consciousness and our experience of life, and impressions and information about the external world enter the memory and remain there in the form of image or concept or feelings about these objects. Thus, it sounds very actual, very contemporary. Yes, basis of thinking, we can say mental states and experience are, so to say, stored in memory in the form of recollection, in the form of some puzzles, maybe, yes. And the nature of this corresponds to the nature of memory. It is important, yes, the nature of this collection corresponds to the nature of memory. We can use remembering because our memory is similar to events or feelings or sensations, yes. Thus, memory is not something another in compare with our thinking. In the same thinking, I'd say we can guess some interferation, yeah, some mixing of these abilities, ability of thinking and ability of memory. I can give a small citation. We can use another translation later, yes. I remember the health or sickness in the body. It is Confessions, book 10. And when these objects were present, my memory reserved image for them, so that they remain present in order for me to see them and reflect upon them in my mind, if I choose to remember them in their absence. Very contemporary consideration, yes. If therefore forgetfulness is retained in the memory through its image and not through itself, then this means that it itself was once present, so that its image might have been imprinted. But when it was present, how did it write its image on the memory? since forgetfulness by its presence blots out even what it finds already written there. Memory allows one to remember the existence of God. So Augustine was believed that memory is ability about remembering of everything, and we can remember the existence of God also with memory, with the same memory, so to say. Yes, we don't need some another abilities. We need our normal, usual thinking, so to say, everyday thinking. Yes, we can find faith in our soul every day. And secondly, it's important that memory is ability of remembering of I, yes, of foundation of our experience. So firstly, we can remember everything and the existence of God. And secondly, we can remember ourselves. It's good news. We can remember ourselves every day. We can find us in the same moment, yes. And it's really this foundation of our experience, of our reflection, and of our self-reflection. I'd say that this spiritual connection between things and our feelings assumes both the possibility of their maximum discrimination and detailing, of analyzing, as well as the possibility of changing the content. So we can change ourselves, we can change our feeling, we can change, for example, our traumatic remembering and some image of past, yes. And such notions of sense of memory clarifies the problem of self-identification, of self-reflection and experience. So firstly, we are ready to find the foundation of us every day. We are ready to find the existence of God every day in our soul. And in the same time, we can be ready to find our small, so to say, feelings and expectation, considerations, yes. This meditative character is usual, is natural for memory. Okay, I think we don't know more than Augustine about memory, yes. And now in our scientific contemporary analysis, we can ask the same question like it was in the time, in the centuries of Augustine, yes. But what is philosophical background of this thoughts, of these considerations? Firstly, Augustine was, of course, Platonist, and he was influenced mostly with Plotinus. Yes, Plotinus, say we Neoplatonist. In the same time, we need to consider Plato's doctrine about metempsychosis, yes, doctrine about transmigration of souls. It's quite a strange thing because it was normal for pagan religions, yes. Now it is normal for Judaism, particularly, yes, for Kabbalah doctrine, but it's not normal for Christianity, yes. So we can say that research position for Augustine works can include this question about possibility, yes, to combine, yes, to make this connection, to make spiritual connection between Plato's pagan doctrine and Christian phrase of Augustine, yes. It can be a question. But in the same time, this theory of transmigration of souls was really important for Plato. His conception was known in the structure of soul as such. So soul was by Plato really autonomous, really free. Yes, in this context, soul was free and not so very much connected with body. Yes, soul. Each soul can change body after the death and exist, so to say, free in the world of gods, and is able to think. Soul can think, can consider, and can have some kind of perception, so to say, in some kind independence of body, yes. And Plato divided, we can be now, yes, in many dialogues of Plato, divided soul in three parts, so-called logical part, yes, it's reason. Two most were spirit with emotions, yes, and appetites, desire, some kind of physical pleasures, some kind of maybe instinct of easy habitus. This conception, this three part, was quite famous in ancient doctrines. It not was only by Plato. In the same time, in the history, we know that these theories of emotions, of feelings, of perception abilities are very, very influenced of Plato, and in the same times, it's a strange transmigration of soul can be interpreted as this freedom of soul, yes, a spiritual freedom of soul. And maybe this aspect was interesting for Augustine. because this aspect is connected with theories of knowledge as doctrine of recollection by Plato, anamnesis, yes, metempsychosis and anamnesis, yes. These two terms are famous in Plato and were written by Augustine too. Knowledge is not only product of our expressions. Yes, we have this inner ability to have and to create knowledge. We have inner world. Yes, we have a world of our soul, and this world is independent of external world. Yes, and Augustine, like Plato, were author. We can say Augustine writes about objectifying the external experience, external expressions, and to create this external object to inner object. From phenomenological viewpoint, I explain a bit later why we say about phenomenology. From phenomenological viewpoint, Augustine and Plato, especially Augustine, writes about objectifying the act of consciousness, which includes different types of reproduction and constitution of external world, of external expressions. So Augustine writes about objectifying the act of consciousness and about, so to say, constitution of the structure of inner perception. Inner perception is independent of external, and for faith is important too. We can say that we understand faith similar to our inner perception. We can perceive real ideas similar to our experience of inner world. Yes, so this phenomenological detailing, phenomenological analysis is important for Augustine, and I think it's interesting in this topic because phenomenology is a method of analysis of inner deeply experience of perceptions. Why we can connect memory and time, and what is important, that this inner world, this inner meaning of external impressions can be some kind image of God. Yes, by Augustine, we can say that meaning of image and inner imaginary, inner constitution of our experience goes back to the notion of man's creation in the image of God. And okay, memory and time. Memory and time is connected not only psychologically. Yes, we can speak about it quite many viewpoints, from many viewpoints. We can say that intuition of memory is intuition of time, yes. Time philosophy includes everyday experience of time, yes. We can start from really usual, really easy feelings about time, yes. What is yesterday, what is today, and how we can find limit between today and yesterday, raise this limits, this difference between yesterday or today. In the same time, quite a difficult point is this point of synthesizing. Any synthesis of memory is built on the ability of memory to constitute the duration. I mean that every psychological or maybe spiritual capacity can create duration. Yes, memory as basis of thinking can help create this duration. We know this everything has a duration, and Augustine written us about memory and time with music. Yes, he was a musician. Yes, we know about it, I hope. And he considered time and memory in examples of music sounds. He considered duration of music like an temporal object, yes. And this synthesizing of memory and constitution of duration can be used by any question about relationship between prototype and image, between pre-image and the image as such, pro-movement and movement, original image and copy. I mean that this transformation of the prototype in the image, in the forces of imaginary, its constitution of narrative, yes, its constitution of narrativity as such in each motion, in each in each passive or active thinking process. We can say that everything we think with temporality, everything is in time, yes. But for Augustine, it not only easy everyday intuition, it was contemplative spiritual idea. Return a bit to a theory of knowledge as doctrine of recollection, anamnesis. By Augustine, we can born with enough knowledge. Yes, our soul includes everything that we need. Love, empathy, include perception, include every necessary abilities to be happy in this world. Yes, But during our life, we can forget these abilities. And memory and time is connected to remember these abilities. Yes, time is the life of the sensory world in the imitation of these abilities. So to say, we need to remember every abilities of our soul, and for Augustine, Christianity as philosophy can create this method, this psychologically and cosmologically actually method to remember all property of the life of the soul, all original properties of original capacities for our ever soul, of the soul with God's capacities, with God's reason. Jean-Luc Marion, one of contemporary authors, said memory as anamnesis solves the problem of consciousness of the subject in the protection him from himself. What is protection? Marion said that memory is capacity to choose our self-reflection and our self-realization, self-presence. And memory can be as a prototype or can be similar to transcendental ego. Transcendental ego from Kant philosophy or from Husserl philosophy can be center of intentional functions of attention, and transcendental ego is founded of the actuality of perception. So memory make our existence present, make our existence actual, and it's a quite easy intuition by Augustine. But in the same time, we said about a really pure ego, yes, about ego with pure capacities, pure intentional functions. Thus, memory is foundation of our real soul and of our self identification. Okay, what is time consciousness? Why we can use this terminus, this notion with Augustine? Time consciousness is a term of Husserl, yes, Edmund Husserl, famous founder of phenomenology. And Husserl created quite big method about analysis of consciousness. For us is very important that it is a method of first person point of view. first person indifferent of third person in physics and natural science and mathematics. Husserl is supposed to perform, so to say, mathematics and foundations of mathematics, and to add these foundations of mathematics with right structured psychology. This is right structured psychology. It is actually a method of phenomenology. It's a phenomenological method. Was brought from Franz Brentano. Brentano was teacher of Husserl. And we can say that Husserl's phenomenology is a very unique, very interesting combination of mathematics and psychology with his own visions of both science. Phenomenology as Cartesian, as Kantian transcendental philosophy, but not too much deduction in this philosophy. Husserl, it was maybe dream of founder of phenomenology, is supposed to create transcendental world, transcendental ego in real time, yes, in real temporality. It's interesting for philosophy, and it's interesting, I think, for theology in every monotheism, because now we have quite many research, quite many paper publication in philosophy of religion, where we can use this method to different objects in actually each religion, yes, from Christianity to Buddhism, in the history of religions, because this, so to say, phenomenological goal of transcendental makes a very interesting kind of description of perceptual experience. We have perceptual experience independent of external world. We have this free inner perception, yes, like by Augustine, and we can describe and make very pure kind of this description, eidetic reflection, called Husserl this process. We can make this experience in inner transcendental ego, and maybe it's some kind of investigation of spiritual ideas, yes. It's not everyday objectifying, but in the same time, it's very contemplative. It's very easy in intuition. Yes, it's this back to think themselves, back to source of our thinking, back to foundations of our thinking and of our souls. It's this step back to foundation of our eternity in our soul. And for Husserl, it was important as a goal of philosophy. Philosophy need some spiritual reforming, yes, so to say, performing and reforming, to solve famous crisis of sciences in the end of 19th century. And Husserl is popular not only as a philosopher, but also as, so to say, author for inspiration in philosophy of religion. And time consciousness, what is time consciousness? Time consciousness is, by Husserl, this inner level of perceptual experience, of duration, of motion, of phenomenon. And so to say, it is this level of perceptual experience that contains every intentional elements. So we can say that this time consciousness is a deep structure of intentional consciousness as such. And I'm sorry, it's a bit not easy, but it is quite a deep structure of our inner experience, yes? Every inner experience can be structured as temporal. Why we can use it by Augustine? Why we can find similarity with Augustine, not only because Jean-Luc Marion said about it, or John Manusakis, or me, yes, not only because contemporary authors said that Augustine can be read with optics of phenomenology, yes, but it is useful because Husserl and Augustine said us about this very important relations between time and eternity. Back to Augustine. Time is structured as time perception, and we can say about three usual modus: attention, attentio, memoria, expectatio. Attention is intention in the presence. Memoria, it is, so to say, image of the past, and we can say that we know what is memory. All these doctrines about memory is combined with the term of memoria. Yes, I mean that Augustine told to us about now, about presence as a key state for thinking. Yes, we need remember our presence. Yes, we need to remember our pure eternity in our soul. But in the same time, key term for time consciousness by Augustine was extendedness of soul. How can we remember our pure eternity? We need to make some effort, and this effort is some act as extendedness of soul. It's not physical effort. It's not, I'd say it's not psychological effort. It's some kind of self-reflection, but without self, yes, without some kind of ego. Augustine examined not only everyday experience, but else experience of time as physical motion, motion of planets, motion of things, of people, of social spaces, yes. And his hypothesis was that essential predicates of time, past, present, and the future, can be ascribed to our experience, to our sensation, but these essential predicates are not predicates of time, but it is predicates of our perception. We don't have any past, present, or future without perception. I hope that this idea is known for you, because this idea is really interesting for contemporary analysis. Yes, time is not real without our thinking. MacTaggart's argument is famous, and contemporary analytic philosophy belongs to this arguments too. Time has essential predicates, but only if we consider these three attributes in our perception, in our consciousness. And for Augustine, it was important that extendedness of soul can create for us this knowledge of eternity. I give a small citation. Since it is possible that if a shorter verse is pronounced slowly, it may take up more time than a longer one if it's pronounced hurriedly. The same would hold for a stanza or a foot or a syllable. From this appears to me that time is nothing other than extendedness, but extendedness of what I do not know. This is marvel to me. The extendedness may be of the mind itself. Mind, its translation of contemporary authors, translation of last years. When we have philosophy of mind, we can say extended of soul and synonym of mind, like synonym of mind, yes. This famous idea allows him to give a new dimension to the problem of duration and the problem of measurability of inner time. so to say, we can grasp present, we can, so to say, grasp now. It is a way to keep it in mind. And if time is measured as a memory of itself, in other words, as a special kind of image or in memory, how I suppose earlier, then the very consciousness of time is nothing other than some kind of effort to memorize, to hold in mind. And this effort, how Augustine wrote, is the life of this action. It is 11th book of Confession. The life of action is the actual present. So I summarize a bit. The effort of consciousness, the attention is focused on the present, on real present, through which the future is carried over, it becomes past. We don't have any present or future or past without our perception, without our consciousness. And these three aspects, attentio, memoria, and expectatio, are three acts of perceptions which combine, or so to say, put together present, past, and future, connect present with past and future. Without this threefold perception and the associated experience of time exist, the perception exists not, perception exists not without this connective effort. We can say that these dynamics underlying the inner historicity, inner narrativity, inner motion of memorizing. Maybe it's really deep structure of our thinking, yes. In the same time, this structure can be some kind of prototype for cosmological or political or ecclesiological historism. Okay, and the last point. The last point is relation between time and creation. It's quite big topic, quite big lists of ideas by Augustine, because ordo and creatio and role of God is problems of ontology by Augustine. In the same time, as for the problem of creation, one of the meanings of memory is its ontological status as existential, since it clarifies the nature of creation. I mean, this nature of creation belongs to our existential questions, not only to creations of world as such, of cosmological rules, but it is, so to say, the transition, it's a transition to the ontological plan by Augustine exist as some kind of equalization of being and knowledge, of individual soul and cosmologically soul. By Plotinus was this cosmos soul, yes, cosmological level of soul. For Augustine is the soul, so to say, transferred to individual soul of human being. We have, so to say, cosmological soul. Yes, a Christian have cosmological soul, and creation is important not only and not like a problem of physics or for technically science. Creation is creation of each experience in each moment of life reflection by everyone. This likeness of man to God, this likeness of man to cosmological soul will never become an identity. But in the same time, knowledge is eternal. Our soul is eternal. And knowledge is revealed in the soul. Knowledge is natural for our soul. So we have knowledge in the soul, like every cosmological rules. And due this transition to the ontological plan in the study of Augustine, we can say that the question of science as such belongs to a question of science about our soul. Yes, every social, political sciences need these foundations in the inner experience. Without this circumstance, is the science not science for Augustine. Thus, we can say that Ordo Amoris, like by Max Scheler wrote about it. Yeah, Ordo Amoris, Ordo as structure of inner world, can combine with possibility of remembering and actualization of eternal foundation of our existence, remembering of eternal creation of world, and to realize this similarity between man and God. I think this idea can be expressed in this notion of imitation, but imitation not like some social practice, imitation as creation of world and human existence in the same time, in the same moment. Okay, time was created together with the world by Augustine. With other word, eternity was transformed during this creation. Eternity was transformed, but not itself, yes. And we can ask the question of how eternity creates time. This question is natural for our perception because our perception structured as temporality. I think that this list of questions are interesting for you. Augustinism is quite actual contemporary direction. We have a lot of paper about Augustine, yes. And concluding this study, I can say that the understanding of creationism and understanding of nature of time is better with Augustine, yes, with phenomenological analysis of Augustine or some kind another analysis. But I think that very interesting is this combination and this harmony between Plato doctrine of knowledge and Christian doctrine about eternity, about creation. And I think that the phenomenological interpretation enable us to clarify the theory of time and analyze its epistemological background. Phenomenological reduction and transcendental goals of these methods leads to a specific kind of self-consciousness and specific kind of philosophy. So I hope that this idea of experience and of inner perception of time orders, it's interesting for you not only as aesthetical experience, but else as an experience of fullness of being. Thank you for your attention, for your, I hope my English was not so bad, but I'm German-speaking author, and some kind of literature, a bit literature by Valdes, Wendner by Valdes, actually Husserl. Of course, Augustine, we all need to read Augustine. It's our best friend. And if you want to read more about this topic in my paper, and what is important, you can find more bibliography in my paper, yes, more literature in my paper. It is my paper, you can write me and I give the link. I will be happy to help you and ask of any question. Thank you.